The secret to a good full English is all about timing. I'm a chef, and this is how I would make a full English at home. We have done our fair share of full English breakfast at Fallow, so we've picked up a good amount of tips and tricks. The first thing I'm going to be starting with is our hash brown. Now this is a simple home version. So I'm taking my peeled agria potatoes and we're going to just grate them on a box grater. We're making enough portions for two. A full English is like a cult status here in the UK. It encapsulates loads of different flavors, textures. You've got freshness in there, you've got crispiness, you've got fattiness. It's like a real treat for the senses. So to my potato here, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, give it a really good mix. Potatoes always take a little bit more salt than you think. It's always deceptive how much it needs. It's one of those things that they say, an old wives' tale, is if you like made a really salty stew, if you put some potatoes in, it'll soak up some of the salt content. So once I've added the seasoning, I'm just gonna take this over to the sink and I'm gonna place it into a tea towel and squeeze out the water. I'm gonna do this in 2 batches. So you're just gonna wrap the cloth around it and you're just gonna squeeze and you get all of this like liquid come out of the potato. And all that liquid is what's gonna stop our potato going crispy. So by removing all of that, but leaving the starch in, the starch is gonna help the potatoes stick together. And because we removed the water, it should get nice and crispy. And I'm gonna take a white onion. For this amount of potato, you probably need about half a large onion or 1 small one. And I'm just gonna remove the core and any of that papery skin of the onion. And then we're just gonna thinly slice it. So then we're just gonna break up my onion, just like that, just so it's all broken up. Give that a little season as well. That's gonna go in the middle of our potato. I'm just gonna put in half of our potato into the base of our pan. And then with your fingers, be careful, just spread out your potato, creating a small rim. So your potato almost feels like it's slightly been blanched because we've seasoned it and squeezed out all that water. Then we're gonna go in with the onion in the center of the potato. A nice thin layer, but enough so you're gonna get the flavor coming through. So this hash brown is a bit of a personal family favorite of mine. So then I'm gonna go, once you put the onions in, then just gonna go in with the potato on the top. Just pressing it down nicely. I'm just trying to get that nice shape now. Focus on the edges, spread out your potato. So this was about 4 large potatoes here, and it will cook down nicely. And then you're just gonna place this back on to a low heat, and you're gonna leave it cooking gently on the side of the stove. I'm not gonna touch it at all. So as the potato starts to soften on the stove, all we're looking to do is just push those edges down. And you don't wanna rush this. The potato will tell you when it's ready. All we're doing is just compressing that potato as the moisture cooks out. And eventually, once it goes crispy, you'll be able to roll it beautifully in the pan. But every couple of minutes, just gonna work that potato in to get that really nice shape. So as you can see, the potato is nicely, it's bubbling around the sides. You can you'll start to see the color develop around the sides there, looking great. And then at this stage, I'm gonna add a couple of knobs of butter in, and that's just gonna enrich the flavor and get that beautiful nutty butter flavor. While my hash brown is there cooking, now I'm just gonna start thinking about my other elements. With a fryer, there is a lot of stuff to cook. So the secret in a restaurant, it's all about mise en place, like with anything. So with any cooking, it's about getting things to a certain stage where you're maximizing their potential, so you can then finish it off so everything is served at the perfect temperature. So you're gonna go with my sausages into the pan. Nice sort of low heat. You don't want it like, if you chuck a sausage into a roasting hot pan, what you'll find is they can just split. The water content in the sausage will just burst them. So I want a really nice low heat, and just get them slowly ticking over. And then it's just about managing all these different things at once. With the bacon, I'm gonna cook this on a tray. Just gonna very lightly oil it. The bacon, I like it really crispy. So that'll go into the oven like so. The black pudding we're gonna cook on the stove in the pan after the sausages. So we're gonna put some lovely olive oil on our tomatoes, good pinch of salt, pepper, a little bit of picked thyme. You can get these done nicely ahead of time, pardon the pun. So you're just gonna pop those into a nice hot oven, and we just wanna blister them to soften them slightly and let those aromats sort of flavor the tomatoes, but we're gonna keep these quite plain because there's so many other flavors going on. So into the oven, 180 for probably about 5-6 minutes. So once my sausages are beautifully colored, we're gonna remove those and place them onto a tray to finish in the oven. And then we're gonna go in with our black pudding into the same pan. And again, I'm just gonna let that slowly caramelize on the side of the stove. So a guilty pleasure on a fry-up is definitely the fried bread. So obviously we're gonna serve this as if I was cooking my perfect full English at home. So we're gonna do a few nice slices of sourdough to go on the side. And then we're gonna do 2 really nice pieces of fried bread as well. So tomatoes are lightly blistered, nice and soft, and we can just pull those out to rest. The bacon's gonna go in, again, 180, and we're gonna check it after 5 minutes and give it a flip halfway through. Okay, you're gonna just keep flipping our black pudding. Again, we wanna build a nice crust on it. I like my black pudding to have a little bit of crispy texture on the outside. Always buy good black pudding as well. And then I'm gonna look at my potato. Now you can see the bottom starting to set nicely. A lot of stuff with the full English is the quality of the ingredient you can buy. The better quality sausages, bacon, tomatoes, mushrooms you buy, the better fry you're going to get at the end of it. Mushrooms, to be honest, is actually one of the dark horse ingredients, if you ask me. It's one of my favourite sort of parts of a full English. I love a good like garlic mushroom. So we're going to do ours with a little bit of garlic. So we're just going to roast these in butter and garlic and thyme. It's just a nice classic mushroom that you'd usually use for fry up. It's a flat mushroom. I'm just going to pierce my mushrooms all over a couple of times. Massive chunk of the mushroom is just water. So we want a way to remove a lot of that water during the cooking process. So just stabbing the mushroom a few times will let some of that steam escape. Right, so our black pudding is looking good. You get it, cut it thick, you can go a nice hard roast on the outside, and the middle is still that juicy texture, and then you get the best of both worlds. And I'm all about both worlds. Okay, so black pudding is going to come out. Most importantly, we are not going to discard that oil. So the sausages in the black pudding will hold really, really easily. You know, you can just reheat them, they'll come up good as new. Tomatoes, we're going to have more like room temperature, so that's perfect. And then I'm focusing on the last minute thing. So my mushrooms, obviously, the longer mushrooms sit, the worse they get. So we're going to cook the mushrooms and the eggs nice and fresh at the end. Heinz baked beans. Personally, not a fan, but I know a lot of people are. So we're going to include them. This is not an ad. They're just, to be honest, they do scream childhood. I just wouldn't necessarily choose to have them. So I'm going to leave those ticking over on the side of the stove nicely. Okay, so bacon's been in now for about sort of 5 minutes, looking nice and juicy. I'm going to leave it at this stage. So this is about 75% done. I'm going to leave the back bacon slightly coloured, but a little bit, not too much, because obviously it's much leaner than the streaky. If you give it too much, it can be really, really dry. So I'm going to give the streaky another 2 minutes, but I'm going to take the back bacon out just a touch earlier. The speed comes with practice, comes with teaching, comes with doing something over and over again. But if you try and do something really fast but sacrifice the quality, that is not a good place to be starting. For my mushrooms, you're going to cook that down in that plain pan with no seasoning, I think, just to release some of the moisture. As the mushrooms get flatter and softer, then we'll go in with the butter and the garlic. Okay, so my streaky bacon's coming out now. It's looking good. So what we're going to do here is going to keep all that bacon fat from the tray, and we're going to add it back to that pan that we kept earlier. So that's bacon fat, sausage fat, black pudding fat, and then we're going to fry our bread in there. But be cautious. Eat your fried bread in moderation. So we're going to place that into our pan on the side of the stove there. That's going to soak up all that bacon juice. It's going to be delicious. Sourdough is really good for this. White bread is the classic. I think sourdough is better, but you need to be careful not to go too crispy with sourdough. So the last thing we're looking at is just getting our mushrooms going. So you can see the mushrooms starting to lose volume now, which is what we want. Nice and soft. Get in there anyway. Potatoes looking good. Just giving that a last little wiggle. Fried bread is on, and then the last bit of butter is going to go in with my mushrooms. So we're utilising all that butter. So fried bread is there. And another little trick I like to do, once my bread comes out, I just like to rest my bacon on top. So now I'm taking my potato out onto my rack. Just be gentle when you're doing it. So now my mushrooms are slightly cooked down. Now we're going to add some butter to my pan, followed by my garlic. And we're going to do that off the heat just so it softens nicely. And then at this stage, I'm going to go in with some salt and some pepper. Oh, smell of that. Smell of that is so good. And it's going to soften that butter nicely. Tiny bit of olive oil as well, just to stop the butter burning. And then I'm just going to turn over my mushroom. Oh, looking good. And then I'm just going to scatter that garlic butter over the mushroom. I'm just going to put that into an oven for about 4 or 5 minutes on 180 degrees. If I'm doing 2-3 people, then I would go fried eggs. Anything more than 3, I would usually go for a batch cook egg, usually scrambled. Unless if you're trying to serve everyone at the same time, it's very, very difficult to do sort of like more than 4 portions of eggs. If they're having 2 each, like balancing 8 fried eggs at the same time is tricky. You can pre-do them to an extent and run them through the oven, but it depends really what you're going for. I think it's much easier to do a nice soft scrambled egg and then just serve multiple people at the same time. So mushrooms have been in 4 or 5 minutes. I'm just going to give them a little baste. Oh, looking beautiful that. Oh, so good. So I'm just going to give that a little baste and then give it another probably 4 or 5 minutes there, looking really nice. While I start my eggs. Okay, so we've got our pan for our eggs on the stove. It's going to be a touch of oil in that and give it a little bit of heat. So going in with our eggs into our pan and 4, boom, and a nice low heat for that. Once your eggs go into the pan, that's when I'm going to start to reheat my other meat. That goes into the oven, everything at the same temperature, 180. My mushrooms are coming out. Sourdough is then going to go into your toaster or under your grill. Cameraman, don't let me burn it. And I'm just going to add a little bit of parsley, just roughly chopped, to go on our mushrooms. There you have it. Just going to give it a little mix up. And there's another final minute in the oven with the other meat. That's about 3 or 4 minutes off. Eggs are ticking over nicely. Once the eggs are basically done, I'm just going to take it off the heat and just put a lid on a pan on the top, a plate on top, just to steam that last little bit of white on the top. Now we're just waiting. It's a waiting game. Oh, check that out. You've got that lovely garlic butter just sprinkling it over. And the cameraman nearly let me burn the toast. Thank you so much. Pulling out all the stops here. We're then just gonna season my eggs. Salt and pepper. Flaky salt. I like to avoid the yolk as much as you can because it tends to like just add a little blemish on top of them. This is when you call your family. You're screaming at your wife or your husband. Say, get the tea, get the coffee, lay the table, put some clothes on, whatever it may be. Who am I to judge? So we're gonna go on with our mushrooms. So you've got your fried bread and your bacon, 2 sausages, your black pudding. If you haven't got a good non-stick pan, definitely something to invest in. Makes this process a lot easier. And then you've got your nice little tomatoes there. Baked beans on the side, because they're not my favorite. Crunch cam engaged. Oh, that is so good. Lovely. Right, let's try this, shall we? My favorite bit. Brown sauce or ketchup. A bit of both. It's underrated as like a dish. Because everyone always said, as we were saying earlier, everyone thinks of it like, oh, it's hangover food, or it's cheap, it's shit. But if you put the care and attention into all those elements, there's so many different flavor profiles going on. Like you can imagine, like you got the hash browns with the beans mixed with the egg yolk. Then you got the fatty sort of like spiced black pudding. And then you got the beautiful garlicky mushrooms. You got sweetness of the tomatoes. There's so much going on. So many senses. There's so many different things, but they all work together so well. It's a great British dish.